Welcome back to a little bit more elaborate fun networking with fish. So we have our OSPF and we have our BGP and we have our traffic that's actually going through between the two host prefixes that are being advertised by OSPF and BGP respectively. A common thing that we're asked to do is to actually churn routes. For example, to take those 10 prefixes that the BGP is advertising, 10.21.1.0 through 10.21.10.0, and churn those, withdraw them, advertise them, withdraw them, advertise them again, leaving that 10.21.14.101 potentially solid. It's a common test that people want to see, and so what we're going to do is we're going to use something called the command sequencer. Which will allow us to do that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the command sequencer and configure it to run traffic for just 10 seconds. That traffic between the /32 that the OSPF is advertising and the /32 that the BGP is advertising that we already have. So instead of doing what I typically do 99% of the time, is I typically run live views. As opposed to start the traffic, stop the traffic, and use the command sequencer, but there are certain reasons why you would use the command sequencer. So I'm going to open the command sequencer and I'm going to configure it to run the traffic for 10 seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and then do the next step of the churn. But first, let's go back over to the Spirent Test Center. And we are going to use the same traffic that we had before, which was these two /32s talking to each other. So let's just go ahead and actually, and you know me, you're going to get to know me real well. As soon as I see that green button, I'm always going to go ahead and click apply, because I'm not too sure what I did last in it. And so all attempted ARPs were successful. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start this traffic. I can click start all of the streams because I only have these two clicked. You can see the little green arrow right now saying that it's going. I'm sending 100 frames per second. I should be able to go to the results over here and see 100 frames per second. Now, much to the same way that I said in those other videos in the beginning, this is typically the way that I look at it. Although Spirent is showing me this thing called a perspective, which I'll be playing with. So I typically look here. This makes me know that everything's okay with the world in my traffic generation perspective, and I don't have to worry about drops until I actually see something over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stop this traffic, and we're going to go to View and then Command Sequencer. The command sequencer over here is you can press F1 and find some more information out about this, but this is the command sequencer and the things that you can do. These are instructions and a sequence of events. So instead of me coming in, you notice that I click apply, I ARP, I run the traffic. I also select which ones I want to run. So it's kind of sort of like that. So I typically live, just to let you know, under basic and also under learning. There are tons more that you can do. There's conditional and everything, so you can just kind of sort of play with this to your heart's content. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear all the results. I'm going to clear all the results because of the fact that I might have been running some live tests, so I'm going to go ahead and clear all results. And then I'm going to go ahead and go into learning, and I'm going to ARP. So I want to ARP on everything. And so another thing I do tend to do, because I've been using this thing for so long, I'm not trusting at all, is I might go ahead and do some waits. So let's do a wait of like 3 seconds, and then another wait of 3 seconds. And then I'm going to go ahead and just move this to what I wanted. So I'm going to clear all the results, then I'm going to wait 3 seconds. I'm going to ARP, and then I'm going to wait 3 seconds. Now I said the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start the traffic. Now I have some choices here. I can just start all the traffic, and if I start all the traffic, it'll start everything that I have there. Or I might want to just start certain streams. So you can actually see here I want to start stream blocks. When you say start stream blocks, it'll actually prompt you as to what stream blocks do you want to start. So we can click everything and we can know that we're going to be doing the routing traffic, and that is the OSPF/32 talking to the BGP/32. And so there's filters if you have got tons of stuff, and that's where the names come in handy. So we're going to call this start host prefix traffic, so that it makes sense for us, right? So you can name this whatever you want. And then we're going to go ahead and do another wait. And this is wait, and I said we're going to do a wait of 10 seconds. And then after that, we're going to go ahead, and I just tend to do a stop traffic. You can do stop stream blocks so that you could start certain stream blocks. I mean, it's a very complex tool. So I'm going to stop the stream blocks, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save the results. So when I save the results, the default value for detailed streams is going to be false. So the results file name, I'm typically going to go ahead and I will have name something. So I'll probably have like fish play. And this is a database file, so we'll call it fish play and say okay. Now this is do you want to save the detailed results, or do you want to just save, so you can actually press function F1, and this will give you the helper again. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to do a save results. So if we click save results here, this is just, you're going to do detailed or you're not going to do detailed. What are you going to do here? Typically, I'm going to go ahead and just save the detailed results, because sometimes we're just running something. We might go back and look at it later. Clear the chart results after the save. Yes, please. And so I want to go ahead and I want to save the results. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then just because of the fact that I constantly see that green thing, I just click it. So we're going to go ahead and now just start. And this is the reason why I'm doing 10 seconds. So we're clearing, we're waiting 3 seconds, we're going to ARP, we're going to wait 3 seconds, and then we're going to start. So that name is just, I'm going to start those streams. So if you actually come over here, you'll see that the streams actually are started. And that my results were cleared, because it's only just recently. This is 100 frames per second, it's 1,000 frames, so we're done. Now when we actually save the results, what's going to happen is a results reporter, that Spirent Test Center results reporter thing is going to open. And it's going to be huge and detailed because, well, you click detail. So what you'll notice is I'm going to click here, and then right down here it's importing everything. So it's clearing it all out, and there you go. So this is pretty much every tab. So if you're wondering what all of this is, at first glance it's a little bit daunting. But if you come here and you realize that this is this view that I like, right? So this is the ports traffic, or let's look at this one. Streams, detailed streams results, and this is the advanced sequencing. So streamed, detailed stream results, advanced sequencing. Ready? Stream results, detailed stream results. You catching it? Advanced sequencing. So this one was talking to this one. This is the stream block name. This was I transmitted 1064 frames. This is 1000. So let's go ahead and see if that's in keeping over here. Yep, and it's in keeping over here. So basically what happens is there's all of these. So we go to basic counters. So that would be streams, detailed stream results, basic counters. So streams, detailed stream results, basic counters. And this has the 2179072. So 2179072. So basically it's everything. Now you can go ahead and do a export, generate a PDF, generate a HTML. and all that kind of fun stuff. One of the things that I do sometimes use this for is sometimes I'll have somebody come through and we have thousands of streams. Thousands. It doesn't happen too often, but just tons and tons of streams. And so when I come through here and I'm on this screen, as you can see, I might have to toggle through multiple streams because this is all of my streams. This is my detailed stream results, and you can see that this is just, I have just these two, but I might have just tons. And so it can be hard in a live mode to see all of this. So this will give you everything that's happening. It's not a live view giving you small chunks and you have to page it down. So what can happen is, if you can imagine that there was just 1,000 on here, we could then go ahead and easily toggle this. So if we wanted to see how many we had that were dropped but across multiple streams, we could come and we could use this. Another thing you can do is you can actually also filter and say that I want you to filter on, for example, dropped frame count. Give me greater than this or less than this. So when you have lots and lots of streams or other things, this can be the best and easiest way to see everything or filter. Now, there is one thing I am going to point out. Sometimes you'll forget that you actually have this up and running. And then you'll be like, oh, okay, well, I want to run the test again. So then you click this. The following results will be overridden. Yeah, that's fine. In theory, of course, you would have exported those other results in whatever view you want. So it's saying that the core database will be repeating and writing over that again. So sometimes what has happened for me is I write down the results, yada, 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 and then I go ahead and I run the test again. And when I run the test again, what ends up happening is the room I'm in assumes that I've left. And this will say that it is, it's having issues. So you'll see this, it's trying to save the results, and it says it's unable to remove this, it's potentially in use. And then you go down here and you're like, oh, right, I was using it before. So I'm going to go ahead and say abort, and then I'm going to come here and I'm going to close this. And then you'll see that we had this didn't work. So would you like to rerun the failed command? The failed command was the save result. So would you like to rerun it? Yes. Otherwise, no, to continue execution on the next command, or cancel and don't run it. I don't really want to just run the save results, so I'm going to go ahead and say no. So if I say no, I've gone ahead and I've said, you know what, stop, done. I'm just going to go ahead and close this results reporter, and then just go ahead and rerun it from start to finish again. I don't really like I like to know that it went from start to finish. I've never actually said just save the results. It could work. I don't know. Control freak. So I just don't do that. I just do it this way. So I say no, I let the whole thing fail, close the results reporter, and then just rerun it, and then get my new results reporter up and running. And so that's what's going to happen. We're going to get the new one up and running, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close out of that. And so that is our 10 seconds. Now the next thing we're supposed to do is we're supposed to modify the command sequencer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify it. So I'm going to be showing two things at the same time. I'm going to be demonstrating something in the command sequencer that people tend to do a lot. One of the reasons why people use the command sequencer, which is doing loops, multiple sequences of the same thing. You can also save iteration results and stuff like that. So, but we're going to go ahead and just say, I'm going to introduce you to loops without doing all that stuff. So we're going to loop and we're going to flap the BGP prefixes. So I'm going to have the BGP withdraw the 10 prefixes, 10.21.1.0 through 10.21.10.0, and then advertise them again. Withdraw them again, advertise them again, creating churn. At the same time, I'm also going to change the traffic to run not for 10 seconds, but for 45 seconds, so that we can go and verify that this is all happening. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. We're going to configure that. So going back over here and going to the results reporter and editing this, what I want to do is I want to create a loop. So a loop would be basic. Like I said, I live in basic and learning. I only do learning for the learning ARP over here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to insert a loop. Now what I can just do is I can come up here and I can say that I want the loop right here. And then underneath the loop, what I want to do is, and this is going to violate my I live in basic but I was going to just show you loops, but we're also going to show you routing, because another common thing is to cause churn. So we're going to go ahead and come here and we're going to withdraw routes. And so we're going to withdraw routes, and this is right now this is to withdraw 100%. So if we actually come here and look at this, this is withdraw 100% of any routes, and I don't want to do that, right? Because I don't want to do both of them. Now if you look here, we have BGP IPv4 route config 1 and BGP IPv4 route config 2. The issue with that is that from this perspective, I can't tell which one's which. So let's fix that. So if we come back over to BGP, we're going to close the sequencer. We come back over to BGP, we're going to come up here to edit routes. And we're going to name these. So this is the name block. And so this is block of 10. So this is, we're going to call this is our background BGP. And this is our host prefix BGP. And so this is our 10, this is our background BGP that we have, and this is our host prefix BGP that we have. So usually if you're not using the command sequencer, you don't need to name this. But if you're using the command sequencer, it's very beneficial to name those. So now let's go ahead and go back in here again. So edit the sequencer. So we have our loop. I lost my loop. So we have our basic. So we're going to go ahead and I had a loop with nothing underneath it, but I'll show you how that works. So now we're going to go to routing and BGP, and I want to go down to withdraw routes. So I want to withdraw routes, and so I want to withdraw 100%, right? So if you look right here, this says we're going to draw 100%. So I want to withdraw, and if you look here, this says I want to withdraw 100% of any routes, all prefixes. But if we double down and click into it, then what we can see is I don't want to withdraw the host prefix one. However, I do want to withdraw 100% of the background BGP. I want that to churn. I want it to get withdrawn. I want it to get advertised, withdrawn, advertised. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. And now let's go ahead and go up and find an advertise routes. And the advertise are going to go after the draw. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to advertise. And again, we're not going to churn that one, but we're going to churn this one. So this is, I want to withdraw all 10 of the BGP prefixes that I don't have traffic being sent to. So that's going to be my churn. And then I want to advertise them back again. Now, I also want to start my traffic. So I want to start my traffic, and we're going to start my traffic, the host prefix traffic, the 32, so talking to the 32 before the loop begins. So, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to wait 10 seconds. So that's all good. And then we're going to go ahead and go into our loop. And so we're going to withdraw, and then we're going to go back into, told you I live up in basic a lot, so we're going to go back into basic. Oh, and by the way, if you want to, you can actually come in here and do like a search, but I kind of sort of know where everything is. So so we're going to go ahead and withdraw, and then we're going to do a wait for, let's do a wait for 10 seconds. And then we're going to advertise again, and we're going to do another wait of 10 seconds. And actually we've got this, and then wait 10 seconds, and then we're going to loop. And so I guess we're going to go for more than 45 seconds. So we'll loop twice. Let's do that. So we're going to do a fixed loop. You could do a continuous if you want also. And we can name this. We can say BGP Churn. We can also add comments and stuff like that. So we're going to clear the results. We're going to wait. We're going to learn. We're going to ARP. We're going to wait. That waiting is just me being me. We're going to start the traffic so that I can go ahead and see, yeah, it's working. And then we're going to start the churn. So we're going to withdraw the routes. We're going to wait 10 seconds. Then we're going to advertise the routes. In fact, let's go ahead and wait 5 seconds since I'm not actually advertising. Not actually advertising that many prefixes. So we're going to withdraw the routes. We're going to wait 5 seconds. We're going to advertise the routes. We're going to wait 5 seconds. And we're going to do this loop twice. And then we're going to stop the traffic, and we're going to save the results. Okay? So if we go ahead and say OK, I'm going to come over here. And it'll actually tell us that our elapsed time is, how long it's actually going to take. So what we're going to do is come back over here. So there's actually a way that you can see, for example, BGP Churn. And that gets back to another blog that I have, which is about the BGP table version number. But let me go over to router 2 and show you what it looks like before we do that churn. In fact, let's make this even worse and do it 3 times. And it's a habit. I hit apply. So if we come back over here, if we do a show IP BGP summary, this is router 2 talking BGP with the Spirent Test Center. Right now, our table version is a 12. Now, the interesting thing is that if we look at the table version, it's actually 1 higher than the number of prefixes that we have gotten. Not going to explain BGP table version number. You can go ahead and go to this link right here. Boom. Or search Google like this. Okay, back to this now. So we're going to look at that table version number. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to start the traffic. So we're going to clear the results. We're going to wait 3 seconds. We're going to ARP. Then I should have an all ARP work at the bottom. And then we're going to start the stream blocks that I said that I wanted to have start. And then we're going to go ahead and see that I'm sending 100 frames per second. I'm going to be receiving 100 frames per second. I'm sending 100 frames per second. I'm receiving 100 frames per second. If we go to advanced sequencer, this is drops. These are all 100. And I have already withdrawn. And I've advertised, and this is the 10 prefixes, so I'm not churning the prefix that I have right here. I'm churning other prefixes. And so now I'm on loop number 2 of it. And now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to churn again. And then we're going to go ahead and stop the traffic. And you can already see that we had no drops. This is typically how I look at things. I look at live view. I don't look at the results reporter, which is about to pop up. But again, sometimes this is very beneficial. You can run the command sequencer actually without using the results reporter. So I think that's also very important to realize. Is it was just kind of sort of my habit to show you saving results. So all of the traffic worked. Now let's go look at R2. And if we look at R2, before our table version was 12, let's go ahead and run that command again. And we can now see that our table version is 72. So 72 means we went up 60 times. That's 6 blocks of 10. Again, I'm not going to explain table version here. You can go to those links that I have. But 60 blocks of 10. So we went up by 60. Now remember, what did we do? We looped 3 times. So I withdrew 10. That's the first block of 10. I advertised 10. That's the second block. And I did this 3 times. I find the BGP table version very, very helpful. But basically that's it. This is your the last in the series when we verified on router 2 that the BGP prefixes were churning and we had no loss. Hope you had fun with this first example of some Spirent Test Center fun in the lab. See you soon. I'm out.